give you the actual time. Slow. 2 minutes slow. सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयम् मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात् शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात्। We have waited eagerly for Prahlada to answer Hiranyakashipu's question. So we might say, what exactly did he ask yesterday? So this is what he asked. He durvinita mandatman kulabhedakaradhama stabdhamaccha sanodbhutam neshyet त्वाद्य यमक्षयम् क्रुद्धस्य यस्य कंपन्ते त्रयो लोका सहेश्वराः तस्य मे भीतवन्मूढ शासनं किं भलोत् अत्यगाः. He says, हे दुर्विनीत मंदात्मा कुलभेद कराधमः. Kulabhedakara, the one who is destroying his own lineage. Adhama, the worst among them all. Now, Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi. What sin you are committing, you end projecting it on others. It's time for such person's annihilation. And he says, just by my twisting of my lips as though I am in anger, Lokatraya, the entire three worlds shiver, and you have the audacity to stand in front of me and praise that enemy of mine? Where did you get that strength from? Balaha kutaha. Where did you get that strength? Now, Prahlad ji says, even here with respect, He Daitya Raja, He Pitashri. There is no disrespect anywhere that he displays in his language or in his mentality or in his thinking. He is very clear. He is also the same Paramatma in this format. Probably the Paramatma is feeling suffocated. But I have compassion for that soul, but not hatred. So what did Prahlad ji say? Na kevalam me bhavatascha rajan savai balam balinam chaparesham. It is not just my strength, but it is your strength also. And the one who can claim himself to be having lot of muscle power, even his or her strength is that supreme strength. Nobody can beat that supreme strength. And it is this supreme strength which is there as the support for the entire creation, sthavara jangamam ye, for the entire creation. He is called Sa Ishvara Kala Urukramaha. He is called Ishvaraha. He is himself called the form of time or Kala. Urukramaha. He is the one who is the Manobala, Dehabala, Indriyabala. Even Indra runs because of his strength. Now such strength is what is there deep within me. And he goes on to say that this strength that you have asked, Daddy, is there in everything in this universe. It is pervading in everything that you can think of. I can see this strength of that Supreme in and through this entire Sthavara Jangama. Sthavara Jangama, both the animate and inanimate, sentient and insentient world. I can see it. Now Hiranyakashipu says, Are Mandabuddhi, you must be hallucinating. I don't see anything anywhere. Do you think that your supreme strength is in your this pillar that you see? You have to imagine that he was sitting on the throne, and throne had stairs, and at the beginning of the stairs there was two pillars, and one of the pillars he shows, and where is Prahlada standing? He is standing right at the beginning of the stairs, and he is trying to answer his dad. So he must have dragged him from that ashrama to that Rajya Sabha and questioning him as though he was the thief or he was somebody who had committed a crime. So he says, Hey Mandabhagyaha, Mandabhagyaha, the one who has lost his good fortune. Because you should not have irritated me to this extent. Do you know who I am? I am your death speaking today. You say that this strength of yours is there everywhere. So he asks, Kvasau yadisa sarvatra kasmat stambhe na drishyate. Why don't I see it in this pillar? Is it there in that pillar? You have gone mad. You are that Hari. He is actually scared of me. How can he be there everywhere? The one who is scared of me and runs away looking at me, avoids me. Now he thinks because Hari is avoiding him, he is scared of him. If there is somebody you're going on the right side and there is somebody who comes on head-on driving and he is clueless, what would you do? Are you scared? You would move to the other lane or you would pull out of the road. Jane do usko. So even Vishnu is, not that he is scared, but he is just keeping it at bay. Now he thinks that Vishnu is running away from him because he is scared. And that Vishnu is being seen by his son everywhere, including the stamba. When somebody is asking questions and you have that calm about you, it irritates the other person furthermore. And this Prahlada is sitting so quiet, innocent. Not that he was trying to show innocence. He was really innocent. He was stating the truth. He said, yes, I can see it. So this Hiranyakashipu almost flies from his throne to that pillar with his khadga, with his sword in his hand, and then bangs it on that stamba. So much was his raw power or raw strength that the pillar cracked. But that is how it is described here. But if the Lord really wanted to come, it was not because of his strength that the pillar cracked. Lord wanted to come, he broke the pillar. The pillar almost cracked up and everybody who were there suddenly were jolted. They heard something very strange sounds, as if they were also part of the hallucination that Prahlada was seeing. They're like, no, dude, we didn't hear it. And they were shocked that they were hearing really some sounds. Now when a pillar cracks up, it is not that kind of a sound. Probably with Hiranyakashipu around, he must have broken a lot of pillars. With his kind of rage or anger, punching into the walls and things like that, he must have done a lot. So they know what a cracking up of a pillar must sound like. So they look at, they say, this is a strange sound, this is not a pillar cracking. And they start searching for that sound where it is originating. And they all come to that pillar from where there is this Bhayankara Sabda, Bhayankara sound coming. So much is the sound that even the Lokapalas and the Brahmaji immediately started on their personal jetters. This is not the time for Pralaya. This is the kind of sound that comes in the time of Pralaya. When the entire creation is to be absorbed, this is the exact kind of sound that comes. So where did this untimely Pralaya start? Even Brahmaji, Rudra, and everybody were surprised at this unexpected sound that they ran in their vehicles to the origin of this sound. Now in that pillar was Hiranyakashipu standing. He had not yet come out. And this crazy sound coming, and Prahlada was being calm, and this was irritating Hiranyakashipu to such an extent that he turned around and tried to grab Prahlada to kill him. Now, as soon as he turned towards Prahlada to kill him, the two parts fell apart and out came this Vichitra Rupa. And he came exactly close to Hiranyakashipu as though breathing on him. Like, this is a very heavy breathing, who is this? And he couldn't see it on his shoulder level. He turned around. So he turned around and there was this huge structure looking very strange. So in the 19th shloka it says, Nayam mrugo napi naro vichitram aho kimetad drumugendra rupam. This doesn't seem to be Mruga Rupa or Nara Rupa. Vichitra is the combination that he is totally different. We have never seen such kind of a form. And I was thinking, I was having anger. This is all Hiranyakashipu's thinking. Hiranyakashipu, I thought I was in rage, but it looks like there's somebody else also in rage. Because he could see that, he was feeling that breath of that Nrsimha Bhagavan on him, that it really caught his attention in spite of his rage. So he turned, what did he look? He looked in the 20th shloka, they start describing this beautiful avatar of the Lord in the most Vichitra form. Half human and half lion. Nrsimha Rupam. Pratapta chamikara chandalochanam. Pratapta. It is as though like, when the gold is to the boiling point, it becomes red. That kind of eyes were the eyes of this Nrsimha Bhagavan. They are red with anger. Karala dramstam karavala chanchala. And his hands had strange claws, and his each nail was shining like a sword. Each claw was shining like a sword. It was not looking like a claw, but it was looking like sword. That was looking that sharp. Karala dramshtra. And how was his teeth? They were like Karala dramshtra. They were like canine, huge, big teeth. And he was roaring. And then he had a very short neck. And from his neck to the shoulder, there was this, hair flowing. All the way from the top, there was this hair flowing. And it was golden color hair which was flowing. And the way it gets described, it is like he was breathing so hard, and Hiranyakashipu was stunned standing in front of him, that the breath would rebound and his hair was in that air jumping out. And that was the kind of the fastness or vegavanta that his hair, his breathing was. And looking down below, he had hair all over his body. And it was looking Chandramshu Gaurehi. Chandramshu Gaurehi is like the color of the moon. It was that kind of glittery white color. And Durasadam Sarva Nije Tada Yudha. And then he had Chakra, Ayudha, and he had all the instruments in his hands. He was looking more Prachanda. Prachanda, very terrible form that he was looking. So what did this Hiranyakashipu think looking at this terrible form? Prahlada stepped aside. Now this Hiranyakashipu thought, I think maybe this is the one that I was searching for. And he is known to change his format. He would take different forms, Mayavi. And he cannot fool me by coming in this form. I am going to kill him. the one who has taken care of this entire 14 lokas, if he comes in this terrible form, am I afraid? And taking his khadga, he attacks Nrsimha Bhagavan. And Nrsimha Bhagavan is like really huge. Okay. Prahlada is really small, a balaka. In front of him, his father Daityaraja was really huge. And in front of Nrsimha Bhagavan, this Daityaraja was appearing in same comparison as though his child was appearing to him. So he was like this. And in that form he attacked Nrsimha Bhagavan. So when he started running towards that huge, gigantic form, the way here Naradji describes, he says, Alakshito agnau patitah patangamaha. It is like a patanga, the firefly, which runs into the fire. Now at that moment when this firefly is running into the fire, like even in Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter the same example comes. Samruddha vegaha, they run with such speed as though they are missing out on something. You try to stop that firefly and say, hey, don't jump in there, you will die. It is similar to any jiva who has been given a good message. He would look at the messenger as though the messenger was crazy. He was in no position for anybody's intervention. He just jumped with this khadga thinking he could kill this Vichitra Rupa. Now Nrsimha Bhagavan, what did he do? He tried, he was playing with him. With his claws, he was pushing him away. And he would again get up and start running towards him. And he did this couple of times, but then even Hiranyakashipu drew in all his power and ran with such rage that he dodged his claws and almost attacked Nrsimha Bhagavan. At that very moment, what did he do? Mahoragam traksha suto yatha grahita. Like the eagle catches hold of the serpent, Nrsimha Bhagavan quickly, with quick reflexes, caught hold of Hiranyakashipu. His khadga fell down and he was like hanging in there trying to escape the clutches of this Vichitra Rupa. The reason I am calling this Vichitra Rupa is I am talking from the standpoint of Hiranyakashipu. He is looking at this as a Vichitra Rupa. And he is trying to escape that clutches of Nrsimha Bhagavan. As though for Leelaya Masa, Vikriditaha. He wanted, as though like Nrsimha Bhagavan wanted to play with him. Like the eagle does before it kills its prey, it picks and drops. So he also started picking and dropping Hiranyakashipu. Now Hiranyakashipu in return, what did he think? He thinks that Nrsimha Bhagavan has probably gotten scared of my power and he has let me go. Now I am going to really show him what my strength is. He was actually tired with that jerking off of the Lord. He was tired already. But then the thought that maybe Nrsimha Bhagavan was afraid of him, so he let him loose, that kind of rejuvenated his muscles. All the tiredness as though seemed to vanish away. So he ran to his gada, mace and a shield and started attacking, and it appeared as though he was dancing without any good steps in front of Nrsimha Bhagavan. And that is how childish or it was appearing That he was trying to attack and it was appearing as though somebody who was dancing without proper steps. Then Lord thought, it is enough now. He had to fulfill many things. In one of the shlokas earlier, he is called Satyasandha. Satyasandha, he is the one who fulfills the promises. He had promised many people many things for this event to happen. First, his own devotee Prahlada had invoked him, saying that he is there in this entire universe, Charachara Jagat. And his devotee had proclaimed with such conviction, he had to make sure that from the Achara, Charatva is born. And that is the difference between Prahlada's vision and Hiranyakashipu's vision. What is the difference? Hiranyakashipu could not see that divine even in the living beings. Whereas Prahlada could see that divinity in and through even the inanimate, insentient. That was the evolved nature that Prahlada was. So he had requested the Lord, saying that Stambha, you come from the Stambha. So he had to come. Then he had given a promise to Jaya Vijaya as they were falling down into the Mrityuloka as Asuras. He said, don't worry, I will personally come and redeem you. And to Jaya Vijaya, he had promised, saying that don't worry, I myself will go and get my people back. And then the Sanat Kumar has asked the Lord, you mean to say every birth? I mean every time these people take birth, said every birth I am going to go back and retrieve them myself. So he had promised quite a few things, and that all had to merge in him to take avatar as Nrsimha Bhagavan. And most important, Hiranyakashipu had taken a boon from Brahmaji. He had to fulfill and make sure that Brahmaji is not turned out to be a bad person, because he fulfill the promise of Brahmaji also. So he had lot of lawyers working on the case as to find where is the loophole. So all the things were just setting to the right time. Till then he was as though playing with Hiranyakashipu. What does he do? First of all, he has come in a form which is neither human nor animal. What was his boon that he had asked? I should not be killed by an animal, I should not be killed by a human. He never claimed, he never asked for a specific detail there. A combo effect should not kill me, he didn't cover that. He said, I should not be dead in my house or outside. That is why, usually when kids or people sit on the threshold, they say, "To marna hai." Either sit this side or that side. That's why when you give, you are asked to give going the other side or calling the person inside. Or when you take Ashirvad, it should not be done on the threshold. That is a special place only for Nrsimha Bhagavan, custom made for Hiranyakashipu. So that is neither in nor outside. It is right there on the threshold. And why was he toying with him? Why was he playing with him? He was waiting for the appropriate time. He said, Divau Naktau. Diva is daytime, Nakta is Ratri. So he was playing with him till the Sandhya Kala. Maybe he must have come in the afternoon time, and this is the Sandhya time, and just about that time when the sun was supposed to set, beautiful setting, and said, okay, let me enjoy some good sunset. And dragged this fellow from the main, the throne all the way to the threshold. And you can imagine, living here, we have palatial houses. Now Hiranyakashipu, what kind of building he must have had? Every single step that Nrsimha Bhagavan was jumping, pulling this Hiranyakashipu behind him, it was as though mini tremors, mini earthquakes. And he finally pulled him there. If you read through the entire description, he looks around as if to display. This was the one who was troubling you and torturing you? Look how he dies. And then he had to fulfill another promise, Astra Shastra. He should not use any kind of weapon, Astra nor Shastra. So what did he do? With his claws, he tore open his entire internals. From top to bottom, he just tore him out with his bare hand. As though that was not sufficient. The description goes that the way he tore him, the blood was like a spring jumping up, and he was drenched in that blood. It is still not done. He took out the internals with his claws and put them around his neck. He had not covered in his insurance. In his insurance policy with Brahmaji, he had not covered that clause or that clause. He was ripped apart. And it happened all such sudden, that particular move of Nrsimha Bhagavan, that all the other Rakshasas that were standing there, they did not expect this to happen. They were like frozen. They didn't expect it. They couldn't believe their own eyes that the Hiranyakashipu, such a bad fate. And when they recovered, it was too late. No, they all gathered to form a strategy and attack Nrsimha Bhagavan. And all that he did was he spun around with his hands and he threw Hiranyakashipu down on them and ran with his hands wide open. Some who got caught in those hands were dead immediately. The rest of them, with that fierceness with which he was running, were scared enough to run away. See, anybody, the first thing that when it comes is Atma Raksha, Prana Raksha. Then if that is safe, then you can think about the rest of it. When they knew that it was inevitable, let me put it this way, they had not done enough punya to be dead in his hands. Let me look at it from the different standpoint. When I took people to Amarnath, the people say, Swamiji, it is so dangerous, that steep climb and other things. I am not scared about the steep climb, but day in and day out, as they play with bombs, and that is what I am scared about. So if we come back safe, it is called Amarnath. If we don't, then it is called Maranath. And then I told them, we might not have done that much punya to die there. Similarly, these people must not have done that enough punya to be touched by the Lord. That sparsha, they did not have enough punya, they ran away. And with all that remains of Hiranyakashipu still hanging, he comes back into the main hall of that Rajya Sabha and sits on the throne where Hiranyakashipu used to sit. And still that anger, that trembling is not subsided. So first Brahmaji comes. In later chapter you would understand he should not have been the first one to go there. Later in one of the chapter he turns to Brahmaji and says, when you give boons, next time think and give. Don't just give balloons. And now Brahmaji comes, first one. He says, Dhuranta Shakye Shaktaye Vichitra Viryaya Pavitra Karmane. Duranta Shakti, nobody can imagine what kind of strength you possess. And each time, you Vichitra Virya, you come in a different form, Vichitra form. And what you do is always Pavitra Karmani. Now we are glad that you came in this format and took care of Hiranyakashipu. We are really feeling blessed. That must have been really irritating Narasimha Bhagavan even further. Karte kyun ho aise bevkoofi? Why do you give such boons, foolish boons? He was still in anger. Further, as though his anger was reaching to another height. Then Rudra Uvacha. Kopakalo yugantaste hato yamasurolpakaha. This kind of anger, O Bhagavan, Lord Shiva is saying, I use in the last moment when there is a pralaya time. Now after all, he was a small asura. And he is already dead. Now withdraw your anger. Why are you looking in such a terrible form? We are feeling scared. Imagine Brahma, Shiva feeling scared. What would have been the condition of the rest of them there? Indra Uvacha. Now you see each person from their own selfish standpoints. Indra says, thank God you killed him. I got my Indra Padavi back. I got my Swarga back. I was missing that very much. Then Pitara, from the Pitruloka, they said, oh Lord, thank goodness you killed him. He was such a Neecha that yearly when people would be offering Shraddha, he would take that Shraddha Phala and enjoy himself, and he would not share that with us. From now on, people will be performing their due karma and we will be enjoying the benefits. सब अपने अपने बारे में सोच रहे हैं थोड़ा 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 थोड़ा. Siddhaha, the Siddha Ganas, they said that all our siddhis were snatched by him, we were left with nothing, all our greatnesses were snatched by him. Vidyadhara said all our vidya was snatched from us by this fellow. He had lot of vidya, but he did not have guna as a platform on which the vidya could be used. Sadguna. That's why Tulsidas ji, whenever he mentions of the greatness of Lord, he always combines these two. Jnana Guna Sagara. It is not sufficient you have lot of jnana. With the blessings of Brahmaji, he had jnana. What he did not have was guna. Because his motive for this entire thing was based out of hatred. Hatred to kill Vishnu. And in one of the poets, Bharavi, he says, roughly translating it into Hindi, it is, पंगा लो तो बड़े लोगों से लेना चाहिए. You really have to challenge somebody, challenge a really big man. Why? By his challenging Vishnu is what his mukti, his moksha ascertained, that his jyoti merged in the Lord. What a blessings for him. Then the Prajapati said that he did not allow us to create because he wanted to create into his own terms and we are not agreeing. He had tied us down and put us in the cellar and we could not escape from there, and the entire creation was hodgepodge because it was his creation. Gandharvas and Siddhacharanas and these people, they said, we are supposed to be singing for you, O Lord, but he made us dance to his tunes. And we were dancing all while. Imagine poor fellows were dancing for yugas after yugas for him, for this Hiranyakashipu. And Yaksha, they have, oh Lord, today we feel relieved, really, because his chariot was being drawn by us. He made us pull his chariot. And if he would go on the palanquin, he would make us carry his palanquin. Today we feel relieved. Now it seemed like as these people were speaking, the throne on which he was sitting started, trembling. Imagine, Lord, how much more anger he must have been. Finally, Vishnu Parshadaha, the Parshadas from Vaikuntha, they said, O Lord, you are Sharanagata Vatsala. Whatever be these people's reasons, but we know for sure, it is out of your compassion that you have come to kill this Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, so that you could fulfill your promise to Jaya Vijaya, who had come in this form. And still his anger would not subside. There are, wherever there is Nrsimha Bhagavan's temples, he is usually covered in lots and lots of layers and layers of chandan, because he is, or they cover him with things that can cool down the system. And many temples, they use the things wherein it immediately cools the system. That is how they, because he is known to have temper problems. He was really raging. So finally Brahmaji, pushed Lakshmi Devi. Aap jao na. आप ऐसे खड़े क्या जाओ, आपके पति हैं, गुस्सा कर रहे हैं. Go, it is your husband. He is still angry. Don't know for what. Now Lakshmi ji was like, wish you had not pushed me here. Sakshat Shrihi. This is in the next chapter. Sakshat Shrihi Preshita Devaihi. She saw this form and she was like, pushed in there and she backed out. Now those who do the description of this particular Vrittanta of the Lord, there is a whole episode as to what are the feelings that Lakshmi Devi would have gone through. Why she did not step forward, why did she back out? They have, all these people who sing the Kathakas, they have their interpretations in such weird form. You can start imagining. One of these descriptions that I had heard once, which I liked, was she thought, he looks in such a terrible form and his real anger subsides. And in his love, he, hugs me and pulls me to him. And his claws and other things, something happened to my skin. Or that Hiranyakashipu's blood all over you. Before I even give him a hug, I should give him a wash. He said, not me. I am not going there. Then finally Lakshmi Devi and Brahmaji decided. Sometimes it is good if you send the child when the father is angry. looking at the child's face, kya hai? Off. Maybe he'll feel little cooled. So they turn to Brahmaji, turn to Prahlada. And the way Brahmaji says, Brahmaji is trying to push the responsibility on somebody, because he knew the main responsibility was with him, because he gave the boon. So he looked at Prahlada and said, "Hey Prahlada, it was to kill your father that he came in this Rudra Rupa, Ugra Avatara. Now you manage some means to pacify him, bring him down." Swapada mule patitam tamarbhakam vilokya deva kripaya pariplutaha utthapya tat shirshna dadhat karambujam. Utthapya. Now this Prahlada went and prostrated Sashtanga Dandavat to the Lord, looking at this kid for whom he had come. Had a little effect wherein everything, he was not, that anger was not shown, but instead he picked him up. And it's like, one hand he picked him up, the other hand he was on his head, and then placed him on his lap. Tat karasparsha dhutakhila shubham. Now that karasparsha, whatever was the knots that were there inside, whatever ashubha was there in Prahlada, even the reminiscent effects, little bit of them, they were washed away. And here an amazing thing happens. Every time I come to this line, I just have goosebumps. What does that Lord say to Prahlada? He says, "Beta, khantavyam anga yadi me samaye vilambaha." Hey Anga, hey child, Kshantavya, forgive me if I have delayed in my coming to rescue you. I know all the terrible things that you have gone through. I should have come earlier. Kshantavya, please forgive me. Now look at this. We do puja, okay, and at the end we sing, Kayena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanaayeti samarpayami. Whatever wrong I might have done, hey Lord, kshantavyo me paradha, please forgive us. Now here is the greatness or the undescribable relation between the Lord and the devotee. The Lord himself turns and says, I am really sorry that I have come late. Pandharpur, there was a time when there were so many devotees, Jnanadev, Muktabai, Jnanadev's older brothers, then Tukaram, Ekanath. There are so many devotees, each a marvelous life story to hear. So they say about Ekanath ji that day in and day out he would be in the service of the Lord. By the end of the day he was so tired that in that exhaustion he would faint. In his service to the Lord, his time was so dedicated to the Lord that he would not think of anything else. At the end he would feel that fatigue and faint. And whenever he would wake up from that, he would again start serving the Lord. Then the Lord comes in the form of a Brahmana and says, "Hey Ekanatha, I am searching for a job. Can I be of some service to you?" He says, "I myself am dasa to somebody." what are you asking me of being my dasa? Oh, you are serving the Lord? Then maybe I can help you serve that Lord. In order to help his devotee, look at the strange sequence here. In Ekanathji's life, who is taking out the chandana? That Lord in this Brahmana form. He is the one who is taking out the chandana daily. And the one who is applying it is and then unto whom is it being applied? Is the Lord. And who is helping him do it? The Lord himself. To give the Naivedya, the Lord himself will cook, bring it, and then Ekanath will give it as bhoga to the Lord. Naivedya to the Lord. Strange are the relations of this Lord and devotee. The master of this entire universe, the one who supports this entire universe, I had given you an appointment, I am late, I am sorry. I should have come little earlier. I know what you have gone through. Now Prahlada looks at that Lord. He says, first, I am a small kid. I don't have much experience. Second, I am a Daitya Kula. I am born in Daitya Kula. So my buddhi, genetically there is a disorder. My buddhi is Vakra buddhi. And many of them, like Brahma, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, Saraswati and all these gods and goddesses, they have worshipped you, they have done the stuti. And the word that is used by Prahlada is Dhara Pravaha Stuti. How did they do the stuti of yours? Dhara Pravaha, non-stop. And still you are not pleased. I don't know, as a Balaka, as a Daitya Balaka who's Vakra Buddhi, I don't know how much I can please you, Lord. Then he says, O Lord, to please you, he says, Dhana, Abhijana, Rupa, Tapaha, Shruti, Ojaha, Tejaha, Prabhava, Bala, Paurusha, Buddhi, Yoga. Normally to please people, one of these 12 is sufficient to please people. You have one of these, then you can please people. You have most of these, you can please many people. You have dhana, you have good lineage. And whenever you have to do some work, you say, I am son of so and so. Oh, come in. I don't mind. Or else people keep coming and knocking in, I don't know. I keep avoiding them. But I know your dad has done a lot of good stuff for me. I don't mind doing it for you. So if you are belonging to a good Vamsha, that is also a positive attribute. Rupa, how you look. They say first impression, right? So Rupa, how you look. Then Tapa, Vidya, Teja, Oja, Bala. Now you can start expanding each one in various formats. Various levels you can bring them down to. These are the 12 things that can please anybody. But Lord, even a person who is endowed with all these 12 gunas, you cannot be the one who can be pleased because of some reason, because of certain quality. And the only thing, O Lord, we can really please you is by bhakti. Nothing else pleases you more than bhakti. he goes to the extent of saying, Viprat, if a Brahmin who has been endowed with all these 12 qualities and has no bhakti, is worse than a Chandala who has bhakti for you but does not have these 12 qualities. We spend entire lifetime in increasing these 12 attributes. And this is what defines us, the ego. This is what defines. I am known because of these 12 things. This is what I spend my entire lifetime in earning. But he says these are not the things that are required. All that which is required is bhakti. And the example he gives is of Gajendrasya. Gajendra, he says he never went to any institute, he never learnt any kind of vidya, sampatti, nothing of that. All that was that he called your name with such deep devotion that you came running for him. So in my opinion, Lord, all that matters, that which really can please you, is bhakti. Niswartha bhakti. So please let my heart be filled with that niswartha. Let my heart be filled with that kind of bhakti. And he says, you are somebody who is already Paripurna Avatara. The one who is already Paripurna, what can I do to please and make you Shanta? It is only Kshudra, Kshudrasya, the people who are of mean mentality, who expect them to be pleased so that they can help you. I don't want to equate you into that level, because you are not mean, you are Paripurna. So they have sent me to please you, but I don't know how to please you. And this method of bhakti or seva of yours, the example that is given is so beautiful in the level 1. Yad yad